Okay, because the clock is already at 8:55, please allow me to start the guest lecture for today. First of all, I would like to say good morning to the Prof. Iahad. Thank you very much for coming again today. And also good morning for Ms. Ira Masukasari. And I would like to also welcome participants because today today's guest lecture will be presented by Prof. Noorminshah Iahad. But before we continue on further, I'd like to invite you all to first. So the event today will be work probably we prayer start. Thank you very much uh, for all the participants who are taken today. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome Prof. Noorminshah maybe to give the guest lecture for today. It's the same like before, Prof. You have 50 minutes to give the lecture and we'll be continuing with the question and answer session for about approximately 30 minutes and we will have the closing statement and then we finish just like that. For all the time and thing, that is yours.
I'm sorry, did I miss anything? I can start now?
Yes, Prof. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. There's some interruption here, sorry. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning, everyone. It's almost 10 a.m. here in Malaysia and I think it's almost 9 a.m. in Surabaya, yeah? Okay, so I think for this class, if I'm not mistaken, the title of the class is what? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Are you all in your 5th semester? Dimas, most of you are in which semester?
We are in the 5th semester.
5th semester. Okay, so basically, the course is about planning. Yeah, planning interaction. What is the English? Dr. Ira, Perencanaan Sistem Interaksi e-health.
Interaction design for e-health system.
Okay, interaction design. Okay, interaction design for health system. So I think most of the area of concern is on HCI. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, all right. Okay, so thank you very much everyone for being with us today with me today. So basically, as you see, as you have seen in my poster on my sharing today. So my topic today will be on, let me share my slides here. Okay, my topic today will be on the potentials of the the citizen science approach in mobile health app development. Okay, so I think most of you were there during my lecture on the enterprise application development. So I don't need to introduce myself a lot more. So, okay, so I'm just adding a bit. I think most of you know already that I'm the IT manager at the UTM Research Computing Unit. I just want to introduce a bit on my research. So this is the area of research that I am interested to and I am doing. Number 1 is information systems in healthcare. Number 2 is on gamification. Number 3 is on online collaborative learning. And next is mainly when I finished my PhD, most of my research is on IT acceptance and adoption and online collaborative learning. But lately, since 2011, I have moved forward to gamification and information systems in healthcare. I just want to share with you what I have done so far with my students. What have I done in the area of research in information systems in healthcare? Basically, as I told you just now, so I started my research on information systems in the healthcare basically in 2011. 2011, yeah, around that time. That particular time, I have a PhD student, now already a lecturer in UTM, Dr. Ahmad Fadil. At that particular time, I did a lot of research on IT adoption, developing models to understand what factors influence users to use certain technologies. However, I found that personally, I found that the research is lacking something. I'm sorry, please excuse me, I need to take the charger. Sekejap, 1 minute. Sorry. Okay, apologies for that. So when I did research on the IT adoption, I feel that I missed something. I don't really contribute to the society, the problems that they face. So at that particular time as well, I have been involved, my personal journey, my personal exploration on healthcare research related to weight management. Okay, so weight management. So I have been using one app, mobile app, to count calorie. Actually, it was far back in, I think, 2002, when I was in Manchester doing my PhD. That time I have a friend from Iran. So she is the one who introduced to me this app. It's quite popular. The name is MyFitnessPal. Okay, the app is to count calories, track how much activity you do that day, and then also how much water you drink every day. So that one is late back in 2002, I think. Okay, and at that time, I remember that she is sharing with me that she is doing Atkins diet. Okay, so but I'm not that influenced, or I'm not attracted to that diet because it's too much protein, and it's too extreme for me. So there comes the idea of developing a mobile dietary and fitness monitoring application, as you see in the figure, in 2011. Yeah, but nowadays, if you look at the Android market, Apple, iTunes, there are so many apps. Okay, countless apps. So many apps. So at that particular time, I have one undergraduate student. Okay, so the undergraduate student is also from Indonesia, Sergio Utama. So he was the one who developed this mobile app. Specifically, this mobile app is developed to cater food intake or food calories for Malaysian. So the basic focus is on Malaysian food. Okay, rather than using MyFitnessPal, which is based on the UK and the UK and US Western food. Okay, so at that particular time also, Dr. Ahmad Fadil now, previously he did his PhD, so he studied what will influence people to continuously and to use an app. Okay, because there are so many apps, people just probably use 1 week, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and then they did not continuously use the app. So he studied what are the factors that will influence a user to use mobile apps. Specifically for his study is what we call using mobile wellness apps. Mobile wellness apps refer to apps that is used to count calorie and to track the fitness at that particular time, at that research. So this one was in 2011. We started the research in 2011. Okay, then next, okay, next, actually before this, I did not include in the slide. I have one student who is doing research on the usage of social media to help cancer patients, okay, to get information from the social media. So we try to identify what are the things that will support them to get information from the social media. Okay. At the same time, I also have another student from Sudan. Okay, from Sudan. You know, it's interesting. In Sudan, the younger females, you know, the single females, before they get married, they will be asked to fatten themselves. Okay, bukan untuk kurus tapi lebih digemukkan. Okay, so during for Sudanese, when they want to get married, they will be asked to fatten themselves. Bukan kuruskan tetapi digemukkan lagi. Alright, so one of my students, Gada from Sudan, she is working in the Ministry of Health. Okay, so she wants to see how, because you know now social media use is widespread. So she wants to know how can social media influence the usage of social media can influence these Sudanese females, you know, young females, to help them manage their weight. Okay, so that's another research done in the area of health with my students. All right, okay, another research that has been done by my PhD student is, as you've seen, as you can see in my slides, design model of mobile-based anti-sedentary behavior change support systems. Okay, so later when you explore for maybe your class project, or maybe in the future you would want to do research in the healthcare area, so I would like to encourage you to look into the behavior change support systems. Okay, so there is a theory behind it when we want to develop a specific app. So so the left hand side is just a mock-up, yeah, but it's not finalized yet. It's still in progress of a system based on the design model of my PhD student. And then on the right hand side is actually a very small scale app developed by master students. Okay, he also has graduated. So in this slide, I'm showing you the mobile apps for catering or to help office workers, to make sure that, you know, office workers normally we sit at such a long time, maybe few hours, you know, hours of time, you know, at the office. Maybe we'll just sit 2 hours, 3 hours. So it's not good for our body. So we should at least, you know, according to literature, we should get active after 1 hour of sitting down. Okay, so these are, for example, the research that we have done. Okay, the very recent research that I have done with my student, Samuel and Song, actually, a student from Ghana, is design of gamified intermittent fasting mobile app. So as I mentioned just now, gamification is one of the areas that I'm very interested and very excited, you know, it's very exciting area. So and also at the same time, I'm interested in the weight management area in healthcare. So I've explored with Samsung to design this gamified intermittent fasting mobile app. So we included the game elements in the mobile apps. Okay, so just want to share with you a bit on what is it mean by gamification. Okay, so gamification is different from games. Okay, so games are games. You play the games, you enjoy playing the games. I'm not a game player, I'm not a gamer, but there are many games I think these youngsters like you like to play. All right. So gamification usage of game elements in a non-health context. Okay. So sorry, not non-health context. usage of game elements in the context of non-game. Okay, so what does it mean by that? Okay, so I'm in the games when you play games, you get points, you become a leader, you become the top 10, for example. Okay, you get extra points, and so many things, right? So we are borrowing these elements, these game elements, in a context of non-game. So for this example, I am developing a mobile apps for people who fast daily, doing intermittent fasting. So it's a non-game. Okay, so it's a daily routine that people do for certain people who want to apply the intermittent fasting. So we included certain game elements such as giving points, okay, having the timer and so on, so that this can motivate the users. All right, so this is the recent work that I've done, but it's like not finished completely because Samsung has already went back to Ghana after finishing his master study. So if you look from this picture, that is Samsung, and we involved certain users who have actually experienced using intermittent fasting mobile apps before. Okay, and we get them involved, and they look into the design, the wireframes. Okay, and then they give us feedback. Okay, so remember this picture because later I will inform you what is it different in the citizen science. Okay, so basically this one I get the participants from people who I know. Mostly 3 of them in the picture are my staff actually. Okay, my staff at the UTM Research Computing, and one of them at the end there is Dr. Haslina, who is also a user of intermittent fasting mobile app. Okay, so for today, not much area, not much topics that I will share with you, but basically it will be around these 2 topics. Number 1 is mobile health apps, and then number 2 is citizen science. Okay, and what are the potentials? Okay, all right. So let's look at the first thing in mobile health apps. So if we look into the mobile health apps area, okay, I'm sure if you search in the Google Play, for example, there are various so much apps, yeah. So in general, I can say that the mobile health apps can be divided into 2 in general, yeah. Number 1 is for health monitoring, whereby it is used to monitor chronic disease management, remote monitoring, okay. Diagnostic tool applications are, for example, using you check your blood to see how much is it low in sugar or high in sugar, and then you use a mobile app to help you monitor your blood sugar level. Okay, and also medication adherence, meaning the mobile apps help you to remind what medicines that you have to take, when is it, and so on. Okay, so one is health monitoring. And then another one is wellness monitoring, whereby in my research, I call it apps that we use to self-monitor our health, to self-monitor our well-being. Okay, so examples, yeah, just general examples are apps that help us to capture our food intake, weight management, and physical activities. Of course, there are a lot of other categories, but in general, I categorize this into 2. Okay, and also another thing that I want to highlight is health monitoring. If we look into, there are some literature that mention about consumer wellness apps. Okay, consumer wellness apps. So when we talk about wellness, it's more on prevention. Okay, more on prevention. So you do self-monitoring to prevent something, to prevent some illness. Okay, as whatever you do your effort to ensure that inshallah you can prevent, okay, the illness. For health monitoring, it's more on treating one's illness. Okay, so these are just 2 big categories of mobile health apps. Of course, as I mentioned to you just now, there are a lot of health apps. Yeah. Okay, what are the issues on mobile health apps? Okay, number one is usability. Actually, these are issues not only on mobile health apps, but mainly majority of the apps. Okay, number one is usability. Okay, does the, I sometimes I downloaded some apps to try and test what functions that it does it offer, what can I do with it. Okay, so I think from my experience, most of the apps are not that usable. Okay, not that interesting for me to use, not that um, um, attracting for me to use. So this is the important thing of this subject, actually the subject you are taking, interaction design. How does the user interacts with the mobile apps? Okay, so number one is usability issues. Number two is number two three is actually interrelated. Okay, continuous use. So as I mentioned to you just now in my research with Dr. Fadil, there are certain things that makes a particular user continuously use a particular app. Okay, so for example, trusting the app, trusting the people who develop the app, trusting the people who manage the app. Okay, and then social influence. If your friends use it and you find it useful, so probably you will use it continuously. Okay, and you have a community of people who's using the same app, so probably you will be using it in a long time. Okay, number three is downloads. Okay, so as I mentioned to you, number two and number three is interrelated. Probably you will download a certain app, but you will just leave it for a while. You will just uninstall your app. Okay, so those are some issues of the apps, mobile apps. And then number four is not backed by research and input from future or potential users. Okay, some most actually, I can say this statement number four is not only from myself, but you can find it from the literature. Most of the app in the market is not backed by research. Okay, and also number five, most important is to ensure that the app is contributed by the subject matter expert. What do I mean by subject matter expert? For example, if you want to develop a mobile app for weight management, so the input, the input of the function, the processes in the app. So there must be an expert in the weight management to provide you with the information. Okay. Of course, you need information from the users, but also the subject matter expert is also important. Another example, if you are developing a mobile app for example, diabetes management. Okay, so you must have input from the experts in diabetes so that the app is trustable, the app is reliable, okay, and valid for the user. So these are some of the issues in the mobile app development in general, and also we can relate it to the mobile health app development. Okay, when we talk about developing app that is usable, that users want, that users are attracted to use, so it's related to the area of user-centered design. Okay, however, as I've shown here in these points, actually this is from one paper, a research paper. So projects are very often have to be completed under great time pressure. So if you look at these issues number four, yeah, it's not backed by research, because research normally takes time. Okay, it's not like 1 month and then you finish everything. Okay, so projects very often have to be completed under great time pressure. So normally the developer have a short time to develop the app. Okay, number two, developing a product is often restricted in time and resources, okay, including trained staff. So just giving you an example, the app that I've the design, yeah, I haven't actually got the prototype for the gamified intermittent fasting mobile app because I have the design, okay, but now I lack the resources, okay, the funding and also the time, okay, to develop the app. Of course, I need to find fundings, okay, and then a good programmer also. That's another element that I will share with you later. Okay, number three, user involvement is therefore often limited, okay, by the amount of time available and further constrained by lack of available expertise to implement the user-centered design. So this is about user involvement and also the expert. So there must be an expert that contribute to the development of the mobile app. Okay, and then there must also be involvement of users. So this is one of the challenge in developing mobile app. Yeah. Okay, let's look at the citizen science. What is it? Okay, so I'm very interested in this study or this area. Okay, it's also new to me. I'm not expert yet in this area, but I found this very interesting because I keep on thinking about this a lot. Okay, so because I've been doing research, get feedback from citizens. That time I did not know about the citizen science, so I tried to get feedback when I did a study on usage of social media for continuous practice of intermittent fasting. Actually, I don't show you that just now. So I have get myself involved in a community of users of social media where they share with themselves what are the how do they do intermittent fasting and so on. Yeah. So I think there are a lot of things that we can learn from the citizens, from the community. And most of the community have their own data using certain mobile apps. In addition to that, we see that people start using, not start actually, people have started using fitness, tracks. For example, apa tu? Smart watches, right? So they use this to track their movement, their physical activity. So this come into my mind. Okay, I think you should also think in the context of Indonesia. I'm thinking in the context of Malaysia. I always think like this. Okay, people use different types of smartwatches: Apple Watch, Garmin, Churros, and so not Churros. Churros is a food. Coros and so on. So many types of watches and so on. So number one, my question is: so where does the data go? Okay, so number one, of course, the data will go to the apps that are being developed. Number one. Number two, it comes to my mind, if the data can be collected, okay, and nationally, okay, a national initiative, so it will be good to provide the government, okay, our country, the state of the health of our citizens. Okay, but there's not yet that initiative in Malaysia, at least. Yeah, I'm not sure in Indonesia. So, and then I came across with previously I came across with one term. Later I'll share with you, and then I came across this citizen science. So, in my opinion, inshallah, yeah, myself and you in the Indonesia context can start developing this approach in developing mobile apps, any mobile apps, and especially in developing health-related mobile apps. Okay, so that it can we can develop the mobile health apps based on the citizen science or based on the citizens' experiences. Okay, so that's what I write here: developing the citizen scientist. Okay, so because our citizens, our community has a lot of experience, so we want to learn from them. Of course, yeah. Not everyone contribute. Not everyone can contribute to become citizen scientists, but at least there must be a movement. There must be an effort to make sure that we train the citizens, to become scientists. Okay, all right. So let's look at this. What is citizen science? Okay, so basically, in general definition, citizen science is public participation in organized research efforts. Okay, there is an organized research effort. So it is a systematic way of doing research, and we involve the public participation. Okay, so hundreds of thousands of individuals around the world are citizen scientists. Okay, people who have chosen to use their free time to engage in the scientific process. Okay, so actually this statement, as I mentioned just now, not yet applicable to Malaysia. Not yet that hundreds of thousands. Okay, but in the area, in the US, in the Europe, in Australia, they have already initiated. They have already have this approach. Okay, they already have a platform for researchers, for anyone who conduct projects to get input, to get the citizens involved. Okay, so for example, you can go and browse. For example, in the US, the platform is citizenscience.org. Okay, we also have in Europe and Australia. So these are just 3 examples. Actually, there are also other countries who have implemented citizen science. Okay. Okay, right. So basically, these are the 10 principles of the citizen science. Let's look at one by one. So it actually are projects that actively involve citizens, okay, in scientific endeavor that generates new knowledge or understanding. Okay, so it's not only about getting users to join you and then, like in Malaysia we call it touch and then go, but it's about the citizens getting involved in the scientific process, and also it helps to generate new knowledge or understanding. Okay, and then it have a genuine science outcome. Okay, so it benefits to both the science and society. Okay. And then citizen scientists may participate in various stages of the scientific process. So it's about the stages. So later we will look at the different types of citizen science projects, types of citizen science. So, and then number 5, citizen scientists receive feedback from the project. Okay, they can get feedback and they can also give feedback actually. And then citizen science, as with all forms of scientific query, has limitations and biases that should be considered and controlled for. Of course, when we involve the citizens, they are from various backgrounds, various experiences. So as scientists, we have to know the limitations and biases. Yeah. And then where possible and suitable, project data and metadata from citizen science projects are made publicly available. So this is one of the interesting things, I think. By having the citizen science, the data is encouraged to be open. Okay, so this is related to the open data initiatives, open government initiative, or there's one more term called open human initiative, whereby we share the data that we contribute. Okay. So, and then number 8, citizen scientists are suitably acknowledged by projects. Okay, of course, they should be acknowledged by projects. Yeah. And then citizen science programs offer a range of benefits and outcomes which should be acknowledged and considered in project evaluation. Meaning, like, for example, if you propose a research grant, so you must mention about the citizen science initiative, and it should be acknowledged. Okay, it should be acknowledged in the proposals, and it should also be acknowledged in the publications. Okay, the leaders of citizen science projects takes into consideration legal and ethical consideration of the project. So this is one of the very important things in doing citizen science. So if you ask me whether a certain project is citizen science or not, so we should go back to these 10 principles. If you are following these 10 principles, then that particular project is a citizen science approach. Okay. Okay, just want to share with you again why I think the citizen science has many potentials for us to explore, for us to use. I'm just sharing with you findings from a paper who studied the usage of mobile apps among pharmacy customers. Okay, this is a recent paper published in 2021, but the data collection actually happened in 2019, before the movement control order, okay, before the quarantine happened. So I expect if this study is conducted during the MCO, the percentage is higher. I mean, the percentage of people using the mobile apps for health is higher. So in this study was done in Selangor, okay, in Malaysia, which involves 278 participants. So if you look at this figure, that's the reference of this paper. You may have a look. I'm just referring to this to see the data, but I don't think that the study is strong enough for a research. Okay, but I'm just sharing with you the data. So there are 278 participants. So from the findings, 53.6% of the respondents use general health apps, okay, and 38.06% use fitness apps, and then 5.4% women-related health apps, and then 1.0% used the meditation and health monitoring apps. Okay, so health monitoring refers to the ones that with chronic diseases like diabetes, heart problem, and so on. Okay, so if we look at this trend, like almost 90%, 90% over of 278% use general health apps and fitness apps. Okay, so this is the trend today. The normal public, our citizens are using various types of apps to monitor their wellness, okay, to monitor their health. So there is a vast opportunities for us to use the citizen science approach in development of mobile apps. And for your information, the citizen science area is not much yet explored, okay, in the area of software development or mobile apps development. So that's why I'm trying to share with you to bring the idea of the potential of the opportunities to use the citizen science approach. All right, so again, that's one of the data that I got. So I'm just sharing with you just now why I think citizen science is good, has the potential for us to use. Okay, so and then in other examples, we can see that nowadays in the context of normal users, okay, like us, we use a lot of Internet of Things. For example, like I mentioned just smartwatches, fitness trackers. Okay, so we use mobile apps, we use intelligence scales. Okay, and if you look at this figure, the duck, yeah, people nowadays share what they do on Facebook. So they share publicly, they share openly. Like they go for cycling of 10.02 km using a certain app, using a certain smartwatch, yeah. And then this one, the dark figure, actually in my faculty, actually business school, the Azman Hashim Business School, we created a group called Gerak. Gerak means you move, right? Move. So Gerak challenge. So we share with among us about what do we do every day. Do we walk? How many steps we take, and so on. So this is a figure shared by one of the associate professor at the Azman Hashim International Business School. What he did was he walked and jogged around his house. Okay, so then he just shared it's like similar to a duck. Okay, so what I want to highlight here is nowadays people share what they do, and people experience in tracking themselves, do the tracking of themselves, tracking of their activities. Okay, so and another example why I think citizen science is something that we should look into. I think most of you have seen these mobile apps, the apps that we use to track and trace COVID cases, and also to inform the vaccination information, to allow us to check in and check out, and so on. Yeah. At the same time, for your information, this is something I'm not sure whether it's something funny or interesting. I think there's someone from Malaysia, my ex-student, UTM student, now doing PhD in University Malaya. Wina, are you here?
Yes,
okay. So thank you for coming. So I just want to share, if there are Malaysians here watching with me, here in this session. So I just want to share with you, I'm not sure the Indonesian students and Dr. Ira, I'm not sure whether you have heard of this story where we have a battle to get vaccinated. Have you heard of that story? Anybody? No. Okay.
No.
So earlier, I don't think, sorry, I can't remember, probably in June, probably in June, whereby cases are high, people want to get vaccinated. So the ministry, and then at that time, yeah, it's like some people don't want to get vaccinated. They are being scared by the anti-vaccine movement and so on. Yeah. So due to that, and the government wants to encourage people to get vaccinated. So they open up a website. Okay, so this tempahan untuk vaksin AstraZeneca. So and then the website is open for only certain time. So you have to, compete with others to get sure that you get the vaccine. So that particular time. So that's why nowadays, if we ask our friends what vaccine did you get, they will, for example, if they answer AstraZeneca, so we will ask them, are you involved in the battle? So you know why? So we call it a battle. People are, competing to get vaccinated. So they have to register here and then choose which not country, which negeri dari mana, dari Johor ke, dari Kuala Lumpur ke, and so on, yeah. And then what slot do you want to do, in the afternoon or morning? So, but when at one particular time, so many of the citizens try to access the system, so everything got jammed. Okay, and then of course, this is about the issue of system, okay, the system, the infrastructure and so on. But at the same time, I just want to show you the nature of our citizens nowadays. Okay, so they want to get the vaccine, so they get involved. Okay, and then it happened that they cannot go through. Some of them go through, some of them got the vaccine, some of them did not get the vaccine slots. And then one funny thing is, some people try, there are 3 languages, Bahasa Melayu, Chinese, and also Tamil. Some of the Malays, they try the Bahasa Melayu, they don't get through, so they use the Tamil language. So those are funny things that I just want to share with you. But the thing is, because of this incident, okay, of course, I would say that I'm not saying bad things about the Ministry of Health Malaysia, yeah, but when we are facing with COVID, a new thing that we have never faced before. Remember, like when I shared you during the agile development, going agile. So there is a need for us to develop software quickly. Okay. So when this happened, what is it that I want to share with you is, when this happened, so many people with the information systems, with the software engineers, contributed, and give their ideas, their opinions, what can be done better when developing this kind of mobile apps, or not mobile apps. It's actually not a mobile apps, it's a web page, a portal. Okay. So that is the thing that I would want to highlight. People nowadays are willing to share the things that they know, and willing to share in the, for example, the app development. Okay. So having said that, having shown to you all the examples, so there's one movement, okay, in the globally, okay, which is called quantified self. Okay, I remember just now I mentioned that users nowadays tend to track their activities, tend to track their, their what they eat, their sleep, okay, how long do they sleep, and so on. So that is called quantified self. There's actually a community whereby you can search quantified self. There's actually a community that you can get involved to show that what do you quantify, what do you count every day. For example, you have a mobile smartwatch, so you track your sleep, you track your movement, and so on. So there's a science behind it that you can share. There's a particular methodology that you can follow to identify yourself as a quantified self. Okay, by the quantified self, there comes the area of personal science, meaning you as somebody personal, you are using some science, methodological science, method of science to know about yourself. Okay, so now goes back to another question. When the citizens use some trackers, for example, do they just use, or do they use it to, to know themselves, to make better decisions and so on. Okay, so with that, there comes the idea of citizen science, where what I think with the knowledge that our citizens have, with the experiences that our citizens have, so we can get them involved in developing the mobile health apps. Okay. Okay, so types of citizen science, as I mentioned just now, you remember the picture that I showed you when my student Samuel tried to come out with the design of the gamified intermittent fasting app. So I mentioned to you just now, I get few of my staff and one of my friend involved. Okay, so it's just somebody near to me. But when we talk about citizen science, we really get involved the citizens, the public people. Okay. So there are three types of citizen science projects. Number one is contributory projects. Okay, so when we talk about contributory projects, it involves citizens in mostly data collection. Okay, mostly on data collection. For example, I want to know, easy example is, for example, using Waze. Okay, we're using Waze. We actually allows the user of Waze to contribute data. Now there is a traffic jam here, a traffic jam there. It's just a simple example. So contributory projects. Other than that, for example, another type is collaborative projects. Okay, so when we talk about collaborative projects, data collection, refining project design, analyzing data, disseminating results, involves the citizens, the public. Okay, and another one is co-created projects. Okay, everything from the beginning until the end. So it's designed together with scientists and public, where the public shares most or all of the steps in scientific project or process. So when looking at these types of citizen science projects, I think in the development of mobile apps, we should consider the third type, whereby we get the citizens involved from the beginning, and we get them to know what are the methods that we use to develop the app. Okay, the step-by-step process. What are involved? Okay, so as you see from the following paragraph, okay, even if you look at the research papers, research articles in Scopus or Web of Science, most of the citizen science projects are contributory projects, the first category. Okay, but it's very in my opinion, for mobile health apps development, we should go to the third type, which is co-created, meaning we develop a mobile health app as a co-creation between us and also the users. Okay, so if you look at these two, in my opinion, the co-created citizen science is the most appropriate for the app development. But we can also consider the contributory. Okay, so the contributory citizen science projects is focused on engaging participants in limited portion of the scientific process. Okay, so probably you can get engaged with them in the testing part of the apps. Okay, so when they test the app, they contribute their data. From that data, it can improve the design. Okay, or as I mentioned just now, the co-created citizen science applies a very different strategy with members of the public. Okay, usually framed as a community engaged in most or all scientific inquiry process. So if we look at the app development, we should involve the citizens from the beginning, from the planning to the design to the development, testing, and so on. Yeah. Okay, let's look at an example of citizen science approach in app development. As I mentioned to you just now, citizen science area is quite young, okay, in the mobile app development. Most of the citizen science projects, actually, they are developing apps to get data from the citizens. Okay, for example, yeah, I want to know let's say I have a project to get the information about the nature. Oh, I forgot to tell you, the citizen science approach is first introduced in the environmental science, okay, whereby they use the citizens to provide information about the environment. For example, about, some citizens, like they have their hobbies, right? They have to look at nature, at birds, flowers, and so on. So the researchers develop a platform, a mobile app, to get information from the citizens, to get data from the citizens. For example, data about a particular flower, data about a particular animal. Okay, so that is the beginning of that is the initial initiative of citizen science. But recently, citizen science has also been used for the app development. But again, as I mentioned to you, it's still quite new. Okay, not much paper, not much research has been done in the development of mobile app. Okay, but I found one example, one study. Okay, this research is on developing an app for discovering urban nature. Okay, it's done at the museum, a museum at Berlin. Okay, so the aim of the project is to explore possibilities to communicate educational content, okay, on urban nature to get target group of young adults. So that's the aim, to communicate educational content for that particular young adults. Okay, and then at the same time, they want to engage them in citizen science. So there are two aims here. Number one, they want to develop an app, to communicate educational content. Number one. Number two, at the same time, they want to engage in citizen science. So at that particular time, so the citizen science initiative has been introduced to the citizens. Okay, so this initial focus was to develop a mobile app to support participants in their curiosity about nature by providing help with identifying animals and plants. Okay, so they developed the apps to support participants, for them to share about identifying animals and plants. Okay, and then as time goes by, the mobile app become a tool, okay, for environmental education and citizen science. So initially, it is a platform for them to develop an app. Then after some time, it came out to be a tool, okay, for them to learn about environmental and to motivate or to promote the citizen science. So in this particular example, the researchers have done about 4 cycles, small cycles. They actually use the agile software development, whereby in each cycle they have certain steps that they follow, and also they involve the citizens. So let's look at this. When inshallah later, if you are interested in the citizen science, so maybe this can be something that you can look into, the steps that they use. For example, in cycle 1, the objective is analysis and concept. So what are the things that they do? So if you look at the method, there are various methods that they use. For example, in the analysis, they use brainstorming method. And then in the analysis and concept, the third one, they use focus groups. And then they use also rapid prototyping with hand-drawn paper prototype. So as I shared with you in the previous lecture, so instead of using hand-drawn paper prototypes, we can use various tools like balsamic and so on. Okay, so if you look at the participants, there are various areas or various tabs, various phases where the participants are involved. For example, the first one involved 37 museum visitors. Okay, and then in the evaluation, it involves 10 users of the target group and so on. Okay, so from this involvement of the citizens, there comes the outcomes of the app. Okay, and if you look at this example, not only they involved the users, okay, but they involve, for example, the third row, 8 experts, okay, and also they involve the stakeholders. When we talk about stakeholders, if it's about urban nature, so probably it involves certain ministries, certain units that is about nature, so that should involve also the other stakeholders. Okay, so in the cycle 2 as well, and then in the cycle 3, number 1 and number 2 is basically when they are actually developing the mobile app, and then the cycle 3 and cycle 4 is mainly on the testing, letting the citizens to use the app and asking them feedback. All right, so if you look at in this particular example, most of the users involved are during the evaluation part, the cycle 4. And one thing that we should consider, or we should think of, we should take care of when we use this citizen approach, we must know how to get feedback from the users. So if you look at this figure on the right hand side, so okay, the researchers get the feedback from a form, okay, in the app itself, and then there is another feedback form, and also they get feedback from emails. So they can categorize the feedback in terms of, is it a co-creational user? What does it mean by co-creation? By having the feedback from the citizen, it helps to improve the app. Or is it a contributory user feedback? It does not contribute much towards the development or design of the apps. And then general user feedback, okay? Also, if you look at the left-hand side, as I mentioned just now, most users are involved in the cycle 3 and cycle 4. Of course, there are the citizen scientists that are involved in the cycle 1 and cycle 2. So probably in the earlier part of the app development, you won't need a lot of the citizens to involve, okay? All right, so again, when I look at this citizen science approach, I ask myself, what is the difference between citizen science approach and participatory approach? Whereby I think Dr. Ira also is familiar with this. When we talk about human-computer interaction, user-centered design, so participatory approach is quite famous, yeah? Whereby we involve the users in developing a particular app, in designing a particular app. But from my understanding, yeah, from what I know, when we talk about citizen science, we use the data that the citizens have. We utilize the knowledge of the citizens. So just again, give you the example, the vast communities that we have. These are examples of Malaysia. Yeah? Again, as I told you, my interest is mainly on the weight management. So if from my experience with the social media in Malaysia, there are various weight management groups. For example, Keto Club, okay, Intermittent Fasting Malaysia, Atkins. So if you look at the numbers of members, there are, a lot of members that I'm sure some of them can contribute to the citizen science approach. Whereby it's not only they sit down with us, they tell us what they want, but actually they are telling us what they want based on the data that they have by using previous mobile apps. Okay, so by that we can provide an app that is more comprehensive. Probably we can use methods like, for example, AI methods. Okay, but with their data, we can utilize the data that we have to use AI methods to give a more interesting, more useful or beneficial experience for the users. I'm just giving you an example of one app called Yamli. Later you can try. There's an algorithm of AI. So I'm expecting, using the citizen science approach, we can have a more beneficial app rather than just entering data in the mobile health app for wellness, okay, for health monitoring. Instead of for treating a particular sickness or illness. Lastly, what do I want to say just now? Lastly, yeah, now I forgot again. It's okay. So basically, those are the things that I think we can explore. There are vast areas that we can explore, we can do. We can motivate our citizens, okay, to be involved in the citizen science. All right, lastly, my last slide, challenges when we want to do this kind of, we want to apply this kind of approach. Number one, challenges, of course, related to the 10 principles just now, yeah. First is ethics. So if you want to do this kind of research, we need to have ethical verification and ethical agreement with the users, okay, with the citizens, and then the need of involvement of various parties. If you look at this various cycles that I showed just now, there are various parties involved. It's not only the developer, it's not only the researcher, but also various parties are involved. So remember, we want an app to be developed quickly. So I think there comes the role of the researcher that can offer the services to developers, okay, to companies that develop apps, to complement these companies, so that the apps is developed based on research, not just I know we want to develop a software quickly, but there must be it must be backed by research. So there comes the role of the researcher in contributing to the research-based app. Okay? Number 3 and 4 is actually related. Challenges, there must be policies, there must be government support and initiatives to ensure that the citizen science approach is understood, is accepted, and is agreed by the government, because we cannot take data as we like, okay. And then the fifth challenge, I think, is to choose the right citizen, okay. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for Noorminshah for the lecture that you already give to us. Okay, so the next session will be the question and answer session for all the participants who have some question to ask. Please do raise your hand, so I will choose you to have the chance to ask to the Prof. Noorminshah. Is there any question from the participant? Okay, is it any question? Okay, we have Ibrahim Hafizan raise his hand now. Maybe for Hafiz, time is yours.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, Professor Min. Me. I'm Hafiz. So I have a question regarding one of the issue in developing health mobile app, right? So is there some kind of certain procedure or policy that manage when it comes to developing this mobile app? It's very crucial, right, when it comes to health and handling people's life. Then this policy that manage your workflow especially with the health expertise. You mentioned that this app should be verified or licensed in terms of health realm. Is there some kind of procedure or policy that manages that?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that question. For Malaysia, for us to collect data from I'm talking about those with illness, diabetes, with illness. So to collect data, for example, from public hospitals, okay, or to get experts, medical doctors involved, we must get the approval from the ethical committee. Okay, number one, of course, when we want to do research, ethical committee at the university. Number two is ethical committee from the medical, I can't remember the name, but that's one body of, in the Ministry of Health who is in charge of the medical ethics. So to ensure that the project can run, we must get that approval. Then only we can do the research. Actually, this is a good question, actually. That's why, again, as I showed you just now, the challenges, we need to get various parties involved, okay? Remember, we are from the computer science background, right? Computer science, IT, information systems background. So we have the idea. We want to share with others our ideas for the goodness of others. But sometimes we miss these procedures. Okay, so just to share with you, as I told you, yeah, I've been doing research since 2011, getting data from the public and so on. But of course, when I get the data from the public, they agree that they agree to respond to my survey, for example. There's not much problem. But there is one case, we conducted a conference. It was attended by medical doctors. Okay, it was attended by medical doctors. So at that particular time, he told me, Dr. Min, there is something not right. Because if you want to get data from the hospitals, public hospitals, you want to get the data from people who have illness, there must be approval from the medical ethics, or else you can be sued. Okay, it's wrong. So basically, I would say that is the first thing. I think, yeah. So that's for example, I think the Zaruina, okay, is sharing with us Medical Research Ethics Committee from Ministry of Health. So in the Indonesia context, you should identify this committee to ensure that you follow the procedure that you should follow. Okay, thank you, Hafizan.
Okay, but I have another question regarding to your answer. So how long those parties, whoever involved in monitoring and helping you in developing this mobile app, are they still involved in continuously monitor this app until right now, or they just involved in developing until it launched? Or
do you mean the ethic committee?
Right.
Oh.
Whoever parties involved in developing this app.
From my experience, for now, it's mainly on the beginning part, the approval. They are not involved in the development, in the design, and so on. Just the approval. From my experience. Okay, but I'm not sure about other examples, other people's experience. But from my experience, it's only at the beginning, approval at the beginning. But again, I would say it's a good effort actually to get them involved as well. So that's why we need to get medical doctors who know about these ethical considerations to get involved in the mobile health app development. Okay, as I told you just now, we are the computer scientists, we are information system scientists, so we don't know much about the medical things, right? Again, I mentioned to you the subject matter expert. We don't know. We are not the subject matter expert. So when we want to develop these apps, the mobile health apps, we must get people who know the subject involved. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for the answer, Professor Min. That's very insightful one.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for Prof. Noorminshah for the answer, and thank you very much also for Hafiz for the question. Maybe we will continue to the next question. We have Dava Khalif raise his hand here. Maybe for Dava, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dimas. Is my voice clear?
Yes.
Before I ask, may I say that my English is not that good, so I'm sorry.
It's okay, just proceed.
Okay. I want to ask about citizen science. So I didn't quite get it about citizen science. As it mentioned in presentation, citizen science is how people participate in a research, but I still didn't quite get it. Like, is that an audience in a research or something else? May you give me the example of citizen science?
Thank you. All right, sure. So basically, when we talk about citizen science approach, it's actually about involving the citizens in doing research. Okay, we involved citizens in doing research. Probably the word citizen is quite confusing for some, not only for us here. even like some of the communities outside, from using the word citizen science, they change it to community science. Okay, when we talk about this, so meaning we want to develop a certain apps, we get the community involved in developing that particular app. So remember, when we want to develop an app, it involves planning, design, development, and then also testing, right? So actually we involve the citizens or the community from the beginning until the end. But most importantly, the citizens must know the process. It's not like they just sit down and then get involved and then, like I mentioned just not touch and go. So they need to know the scientific process. When we do this, when we develop this app, it involves this process, A, B, C, D, and so on. So as I mentioned to you just now, the challenge is to select the right citizen, the citizen that know a bit about the scientific process. Okay, the citizens that have used previous mobile apps, so that they have experience in using certain mobile health app, number one, and then they can provide with you the data that they have before. So by having that data, we can improve, or we can improve the mobile health app that we want to develop. Okay, so is that clear, Halif?
Excuse me, I just want to summary the explanation. So, citizen science is people who knows the process and then they participate in testing. Am I right? Am I right?
From the beginning, from giving you the requirements, from designing, and then this is in the context of software development. Okay, this is the context of software development. But for example that I gave you just now, environmental science, environmental studies, some of them do not involve from the beginning. They just involve in data collection, for example, and so on. But as I mentioned to you just now, there are three types of citizen science. In my opinion, the one that is suitable for system development is the co-creation. Meaning, what is the meaning of co-creation? Meaning we develop something together with the users, together with the potential users. So in my opinion, for the systems development, we get the citizens, we get the community involved from the beginning, from the planning to the design to development and testing. Okay, nowadays our approach is mostly we get the users involved in the testing. Okay, but again, these users are just normal users. They have experience, but they don't know that they can be a scientist, they can be a citizen scientist. Okay, I hope that answers, Halif.
Thank you very much. It answers.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Noorminshah and Dr. Halif. Okay, maybe we will just continue into the next question. We have Halim Resishan here. So maybe for Halim, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dimas. Hello, Dr. Noorminshah. Hello again.
Hi.
So I have a question. So you mentioned before that I'm quite interested in the story of Sudanese women, that they have been asked to fatten themselves instead of dieting before they get married. I want to know a little bit more about that story. And also, my second question is regarding to that story. If we have citizen science, assuming that somehow or someday we can ask these Sudanese tribes or maybe Sudanese people to engage with us in the development of a mobile apps, I want to ask about how much power do we have in order to, maybe change their behavior or their culture, if I can say that. Do we have that power in citizen science that is far beyond our scope to just make the application, but also to change some cultures? I think that is my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if you want to know more about making the females fat before they get married, basically if if the female get fat before they get married, means that the it can be like a source of happiness for them. That is the culture. Again, that is the culture. Yeah, that is the culture. But it's not applicable for all. Nowadays, the ones that are more educated did not follow that culture. Okay, this is what being told by my student. Okay, so my student is working at the Ministry of Health in Sudan. Okay, so that's the general idea of the culture in Sudan. Okay, going back to your question number 2 about if, for example, we use the citizen science approach to develop a mobile app to for weight management and so on. So your question is, can we really change the culture with the app? Okay, so now comes this idea or this concept of citizen science. Remember, as I mentioned to you just now, I think in the context of Malaysia, we have a lot of community groups of communities, a few hundred thousands of members. Okay, so I think they can be candidates of the citizen scientists to help us develop app that is dedicated for Malaysia, for example. Okay, so for the context of Sudan, as an example, can we actually change their culture by developing an app? Number one, I would say it might happen, but it takes time. Okay, everything that involves human being, change of behavior, change of culture will involve time. Okay, that's number one. Number two, if there's a big community of these educated females in Sudan, okay, like what I have mentioned in Malaysia, we have a lot of community. So that might be a trigger so that these apps being developed can be used. Okay, so students, I know all of you have many ideas. You are very young, you have a lot of ideas. But we have to remember when we develop a certain app, number one, we must make sure that the app is for the user. The users want to use it, number one. Number two, when we develop the app, it's not like we develop and then we publish on the Google Play and so on, then finish, right? So we need to have a marketing, promotion, and so on. So there's a very comprehensive process which involves many aspects in to make sure that the app is being used, not just like, as I mentioned just now, there's an issue of people download, not continuing using it. So that one can be catered by having the users' perspectives, what they want. Okay, but then people would know our app if we do not promote. Okay, so but that's one thing also good. Probably if you develop this kind of app, it become viral. You don't need any marketing agent. It can be, people will start download your app. Okay, so basically, I would like to conclude that it might change the culture, but it will take time. Okay, and it needs some efforts by maybe influencers, to help in promoting the change of the culture. Okay, thank you, Halim.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Noorminshah. But I actually have the follow-up questions. Because you mentioned that in Malaysia, you have a lot of communities that is involved in the certain areas of health applications. Do we in order to achieve the citizen science, so the most important part of it is to create some kind of awareness from the society first, right? Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
correct. So
Okay.
that's why just sharing my experience, when I did this health-related research, I try to communicate with these people in these groups, but not much of them actually responded. Okay. Number one, probably they are scared. They are not sure what they should do. Number one. Number two, the idea of citizen science is new, at least in Malaysia. Okay, like in Australia, I mentioned to you, they have already implemented. They have a platform. that platform can be joined by, developers and so on, so that they can, they can include what are the projects they are doing, and they need some citizens to join and so on. Yeah. But in Malaysia context, the idea is not there yet. So that's why I said there must be government initiatives to agree to this kind of projects, so that the citizens understand, the citizens know this concept. So when we talk about gamification, yeah, I just want to relate this a bit with the gamification. People do something because of something. Okay, so they do A, for example, because they want to contribute to goodness. They do B because they don't want to lose something. So this is related to the theory of motivation, okay, and gamification. So I always think like, what will motivate this community to collaborate, to get involved? So I think by having this citizen science initiative at a national level, then only the citizens will understand, oh, I will become a citizen scientist, I will become a community scientist, I want to contribute. So I think that's the initial that should be done, which is quite young in the context of Malaysia. I'm not sure in Indonesia, but I would say in Malaysia, that's not there yet. And I posted in my Facebook yesterday, I mentioned that I want to promote this citizen science concept because, in Malaysia, other than this community, there are, when something happens, we call tentera bawang. Tentera is an army. But it's, in Malaysia, there's one term we call makcik bawang. Do you know what bawang? Bawang is onion, right? Onion. So, when makcik at home, peeling the onion, while peeling the onion, they viral some news, So we call it makcik bawang. So in the internet, in the social media, we call tentera bawang. They tend to viral so many things. So I'm just sharing yesterday on my Facebook, I said that let us move from being tentera bawang to become citizen scientists. Okay, so but again, as I told you, the idea is still quite new in at least Malaysia context. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Noorminshah.
You're welcome.
It answers my questions, and thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much once more for Prof. Noorminshah and also for Halim. Maybe we have the last question here. We have Nadif raised. For Nadif, maybe time is yours.
Hello, am I clear?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Dimas, and thank you, Dr. Noorminshah. First of all, I'm sorry if this still related to your topic, or maybe I just skip your presentation, but here's a question I would like to ask. Let's say if we have a project like this, in terms of citizen science project, there is always a plan for the preparation part at the first place, but maybe in some time, while the implementation begin, there's always a possible way to facing up like a denial from the society we targeting. So how we deal with it, how we getting the solution for this the denial that the denial that comes up when the implementation begin.
Okay, so when we talk about citizen science, okay, we try to get as many as possible people involved in the process of in the context of mobile app development. Yeah, we try to get as many people involved in the mobile app development, so that by having that, we hope that the design, the development of the app fulfill the majority part of the users. Okay, so we want to ensure that the denial won't happen. Of course, we cannot say won't happen, but at least we can minimize the denials. Okay, but still, if there are denials, there are two possibilities. Number one, from the denials, we can get the feedback and get back to the app development, to the app design, to the app requirements. Number one. Number two, don't be surprised. It's not something wrong. It's not something to be ashamed of. There are also big companies that have developed something, but because of the denial, they have to just forget about the idea. Okay, so denial is something, can be something good. Okay, but you have to know how to tackle, whereby if you were there during my agile software development lecture, so again, that's where with the denial, actually we are accepting users' feedback. We are accepting new requirements so that we can improve the development and also improve the design of the particular app, or any not necessarily mobile app, any app that we are developing. So I hope that can answer your question, Nadif.
It do answer my question. Thank you very much for the explanation, Dr. Noorminshah.
Thank you. I like your hair.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Noorminshah and also Nadif. So the question and answer session has already done. Maybe we will continue to the next session. But before we hear the closing statement from Prof. Noorminshah, maybe Ms. Ira, do you have something to say first?
Okay, thank you, Dimas. Thank you, Dr. Noorminshah, for your insightful presentation, especially about gamification and citizen science. Yes, changing behavior is very, very difficult. So we hope that gamification can be one of the solutions to help people motivated using the apps or to change their behavior into healthier lifestyle. And also the citizen science, maybe one of the solution also is how to communicate to the public using a public health communication or maybe public relation to inform to the user what to expect when they are involved in certain projects. So thanks again, Dr. Noorminshah. And for students, I think you have a lot of insights for your next assignments in this course, because we still have 2 big projects until final test. So thank you, Dimas. I think that's all from me.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Ira. Maybe the last one is the closing statement from Dr. Noorminshah herself. Maybe for Dr. Noorminshah, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. So there are various efforts, various mobile health apps that we can develop, but please make sure that number one, we adhere to the ethics, we adhere to the procedures that we must meet according to our country's Ministry of Health regulations, number one. Number two, again, make sure that when we develop the apps, we develop based on user-centered, we develop user-centered designed apps, okay? Number three, I think we can together explore more on the citizen science approach. Probably it can be a beginning for us. Probably, I think, inshallah, Dr. Ira, we can work together to see, maybe we can compare the in Malaysia context, Indonesia context. Again, it's still new. So maybe you all will start, becoming, having the idea of citizen scientist. Okay, so I hope later in the future you will contribute to become the citizen scientist. Okay, so finally I hope you find some benefits, some useful information from this lecture, and I hope it will help help you in your projects for the class assignments. Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Noorminshah. Okay, so if we talk about the guest lecture for today, that's all the session for today. The next session will be the photo session. So maybe I invite to all the participants to open your camera. And also for the committee, please do share the presence and feedback form in the chat. Okay, so for all the participants, while you open your camera, maybe you can also fill the feedback form first, so you will be get the certificate uh, for joining this guest lecture today. Okay, for the committee, maybe you can handle the photo session, and also Dr. Misa, we have some gift for you because you already give the guest lecture today. Thank you very much. Maybe for the gift, maybe for the committee, can you share the screen, please?
Okay, Dimas. Should we take a photo together first, or
Okay.
okay? So I think we should take the photo together first, right? Then
Yes, yes.
we give the gift to Professor Min. Okay, guys, please open up your camera so I can take the photos. Okay, still loading up. Okay, guys. On the count of three, we have to slide in here. Okay, so the first slide on count of three, right? 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, for the second slide, 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think that's all for the photo together.
Okay, maybe we continue to the gift session. For the committee, please do share the gift. Okay, please hold on a second. Okay, so here's the gift for Dr. Noorminshah. Thank you very much for being the guest lecturer today. Very grateful that you already spared the time and the chances for giving us the lecture for today. Maybe from Miss Ira, there is something to say again. Miss Ira.
Okay, I think yes, we learn new things from today's lecture from Dr. Noorminshah, especially about gamification, mobile health, and citizen science. And I also encourage you, if you want to change your assignment topic to include citizen science or gamification, please proceed. Thank you, Dimas.
Okay, maybe from Dr. Mirza, is it already enough
I
or do
think
you have something to say?
one last thing. I would highly encourage you to look into gamification in developing mobile health apps. There are vast potentials, benefits of gamification in the area of mobile health. Okay, so about the citizen science, of course, there are many potentials, but as we know, it is new, it is not known yet to the community, it is an ongoing effort, but I think it's a good start for you to explore gamification for your assignments and class projects. Okay, thank you everyone, and I wish you all the best.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Mirza. Okay, maybe that's all for our guest lecture today because we already start the guest lecture with a prayer. Let's end the guest lecture also with a prayer. Prayer start. Okay, prayer finish. I would like to remind to all the participants to fill the feedback form that already shared by the committee in the chat session. For me, as the master of ceremony today, I would like to say sorry if I do make some mistake that I probably don't know. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for all the participants. And once more, thank you very much, Dr. Noorminshah, and also Ms. Ira for the chances and the time that you already spared for today. That's all from me. I would like to close the guest lecture today. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a nice day.
Okay, thank you everyone. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Noorminshah.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you, Dr. Ira.